what up, ladies and sinners? Welcome to another Tuesday night edition of the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Cal Henderson. Episode 15. We are back on the clock, folks. The NFL season's just around the corner. Got a lot to talk about. With that said, the LV Aces, the Las Vegas Lady Aces, are on a run right now. They're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. Tops in the WNBA. We'll touch base on that. UNLV Football will overlook that because I actually had a Twitter fan following, commenting on the show, commenting about where I reside, and then on top of that, said, hey, as long as you cover UNLV, we are good. Golden Knights have a new head coach. We'll touch base on that. I'm kind of excited about the hire, guys. I'll be honest. It's not Barry Trotz, but it's still a really good hire, and I think it's gonna pay dividends for the Golden Knights fans because they have a win now team, and hopefully this coach can really do repeat his performance. We'll talk about him a little bit. And then the Raiders, guys, they're not being slept on anymore. The Las Vegas Raiders are no longer being slept on. They were thought about, as last in the division because they have the worst quarterback in the division. Now everybody's kind of taking a look at this roster. Good little breakdown, listening to the way the players are talking. Full attendance at OTAs, whether it was voluntary or mandatory, full attendance in the Raiders facility. This new culture is vibing, guys, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters. We gotta love it. Again, ladies and sinners, thank you so much for joining in. Welcome to the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome back. Again, I'm your host, Cal Henderson. Here is the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Las Vegas, baby. It's heat. That's what I'm thinking of. I keep seeing all these TikToks out there about how hot it is in Arizona and Vegas right now. For example, there's this dude that lives in Arizona, but I'm sure the sun or the rays and everything like that, the heat index is the same for him. He's legit putting food on trays in his car on his dashboard with foil, oiled up, and he's cooking that food. He's cooking that food. He'll go outside. He'll like flip it at break, and then go outside when it's lunch and eat that food. That's how hot he says it is. Like he'll do the whole little temperature thing. It's showing like 212 on the dash sometimes. Dude put a steak there the other day, and it was almost well done in a 4-hour period, like a slow bake. Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe seeing that. Taryn, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. So, Taryn says, the Las Vegas Ramblers are killing it in the NBA. That's the National Volleyball Association for you folks that have not been following. If you guys get a chance, you guys want to learn anything about volleyball, make sure you guys are following Taryn Rodriguez, man. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to the volleyball scene. The Las Vegas Ramblers have the second best record in the league, and they locked up their conference. When they get fully healthy, they're going to be a nightmare. But I know you're not a big volleyball guy, but it's all good. Las Vegas is becoming a volleyball city. I'm a volleyball guy just for the wrong reasons, Taryn. I'm a dude. It is what it is. I get it, though. I get it. Way to call me out there. It's not going to be a volleyball city. I'm sorry. I don't know if you've been to Vegas recently, but it's got Raiders everywhere. It's becoming a Raiders town. Yep. The NFL is taking over Las Vegas. But I love it, man. Your enthusiasm is absolutely intoxicating. I can see it in every chat you put in there. You're obviously a vital member here at IE Sports Radio, dude. It's awesome. Thank you so much for your energy all the time. Folks, before we get into the show, we got to talk about those folks that pay the bills. Yeah, you guys heard it. You guys heard it first. The Southern California Semi-Pro Warriors. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film, to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you If you love your sport, you may get that second chance you've been waiting for. Check out their Twitters, social media, Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, Facebook Southern California Warriors, and the main platform that we are on is IE Sports Radio. And that is our love, man. That's what we get to do. That's what we get to talk about sports on. For the past 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. Just $5 a month. This donation gets you shoutouts on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment, hosted by the man, the myth, the legend, Larry B. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. Yeah, and we're rolling, folks. We're rolling in Vegas for sure. We're rolling at IE Sports Radio. There's a show pumping out all the times. And guys, I want to apologize for last week's absence. Life hits you fast. That's all I got to say. But I'm back and I'm ready to go. Better than ever. Hopefully I have some rest. I'm studying for some insurance exams. What a nightmare. If you guys have any tips, if you guys have any websites, any YouTube content creators that you believe would be great for insurance sales, the right way to go about it, because I'm not a sleazy sales guy, please throw that up, man. It's interaction. I know it's not sports related, but guess what? You're helping a brother out. I'm studying for insurance exams, so life is, punching me in the face. We have youth football. It has already started. I feel like I'm doing that about every other night now for about 3 to 4 hours a night, and pretty soon the season starts early August, and we will be pumping out. Practices left and right, man. I'm trying to go for an 8th grade youth championship this year. We're rolling, baby. I got a really good team. I think I have like 6 running backs to run the ball through. That doesn't happen very often. So I'm really excited. They're great kids. Allo Youth Football is rolling. So life's busy, but we're getting after it. Today's my mother's birthday. If you guys get a chance, make sure you guys on the Twitter shout out, happy birthday, Yolanda. Yeah. Mama Yo-Yo. She didn't play around growing up as a kid, guys. Listen, all that it's worth, guys. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has different upbringings. Nobody's perfect. But my mom was a good mom. She fed me well. She fed me very well. I don't think I really ate fast food or had a real binge on soda until I was out of the house. That's how healthy I ate. So mom was a great mom. She's a great person. Everybody has their faults, but she's wonderful. Make sure you guys wish Yolanda Henderson a happy birthday. I love her very much. Las Vegas Aces, you guys are on a tear. Starting the season 13-2. They're top of the WNBA. They are tops of the WNBA, man. They are rolling. 4-game win streak, killing it. They're averaging 91 points a game. Their opponents, 80.8, I think it is, the last I looked. That was the other day. It's unbelievable. 4-game win streak. Hopefully they begin that streak tonight. They have a live game. We're going to check in on scores as the show's going on. As you guys know, that game will not be done by the time this show concludes at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Las Vegas Aces right now have an 18-4 lead over the second place in the Eastern Conference, Chicago Sky. They're up right now 18-4. First quarter. Lady Aces are killing it, man. Next game after that will be in Las Vegas. This upcoming Saturday, June 25th, the ladies are going to have a few days off before their next bout. Monday in Los Angeles, June 27th. In Seattle, in Minnesota, back in Vegas, July 6th. Man, they have what looks to be a long road trip. 5 games. Good for them. Then they'll come back, although they have a game before the July 4th and then a game 2 days after July 4th. July 6th again will be their next home game after this Saturday. So ladies are on the Lady Aces are on a run, guys. We can't discount. If you guys get a chance, make sure you guys look up their ticket prices. Give them a shot. They're entertaining. You see a bunch of Raiders athletes, Golden Knight athletes. It's awesome to see those Las Vegas athletes, those professional athletes, showing support for each other. They're kicking ass. It's great. 13-2, they're killing it, top of their conference, top of the NBA, and we hope it keeps rolling. As of right now, from any indication for tonight's game, it looks like they're planning on to continue this roll, man. This new regime going a little bit younger was a really good idea this offseason. They're being very competitive. There were some analysts out there, I use quotations, that said this would not be a very good team. They're killing it, man. And really, there's nobody close. I really don't think there's anybody close. The Eastern Division, the Sun, I don't know. Connecticut Sun don't do too bad. I just don't think they're better than Lady Aces. No way. Not in my opinion. Lady Aces are killing it. UNLV, be happy to touch base on them. Football's right around the corner, guys. Baseball finished up. Track's finished up. Football's right around the corner. It's been a bit of a ride for Coach Dave Aranda since he arrived at the UNLV campus as the head coach. I mean, he's been rolling. Trying to get better, trying to renew, build his own culture, and there's some positive signs. There's some real positive signs. This year will be a different year. I do believe they'll make a bowl game. I can't guarantee that they'll completely turn things around and win the Mountain West, because the Mountain West has been dominated by Boise State, and Nevada is going to be pretty good this year. I mean, you have Boise State. Let me think of something else. Fresno State's not going to be a joke. I just think there's so many really good teams in the Mountain West that nobody really talks about, and it's not going to be easy. So hopefully, with an experienced offensive line, finally you have an entire group of offensive linemen that are essentially, unless some underclassmen who improve dramatically step up, you have basically an entire offensive line that's going to be juniors and seniors. So they've had a couple years together. They've learned. They know the college game now. They're killing it on that aspect. So they're going to have a veteran presence on the offensive line. That's huge. There's competition going on at quarterback right now. We'll keep you guys posted on that, who's going to win that race as camp rolls around. But, I mean, come on. Competition is always good. A group of really good wide receivers. I want to say that they're 3 or 4 deep with speed. That's something that I know the Athletic writers at the Athletic, writers at the Sun talked about. They're very excited about this receiving core coming back. That is speedy. Has a couple transfers. So, yeah, I mean, UNLV's looking up, especially their baseball team. Let's hope that keeps up. Coach Arroyo, and then, and some of this information I got from UNLV Rebel Girl, who is somebody who's kind of throwing me some flack a few weeks ago. But Coach Arroyo has finally flipped the whole roster around. He has upgraded the talent at every position, especially on defense. If we can get our starting quarterback healthy this year, I expect a bowl for sure, and I agree with that. I agree with the bowl game. There's no reason why they shouldn't win a bowl game. Anything can happen, don't get me wrong. But, again, there's no reason why they shouldn't win a bowl game this year. I think that's very, very obtainable. When you look at the Mountain West Conference, Mountain West football in general, first of all, it's very deep. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Mountain West football, they know what they're talking about. If you guys want to watch some entertaining games, try and find yourself a Mountain West game every once in a while. It's crazy. They have Utah State, Air Force, Boise State, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, San Diego State. San Diego State is always really good. I don't know why I forgot about them. It seems like every single year they have a rushing title holder in college, with the exception of some of those years that the Wisconsin guys go off. Man, I'm telling you, San Diego State doesn't play around. Fresno State, Nevada, Hawaii, San Jose State. Listen, Hawaii was a lot of fun. You guys remember the Colt Brennan days? I know this is off topic. It's not talking about UNLV, but I got to get it in there. Do you guys remember those days that Colt Brennan was slinging hash in a Hawaii uniform? Like, they ended up playing Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. They got rolled. I think some of that had to do with Colt Brennan getting hurt. But, man, they were a lot of fun to watch. I would love to see the Rainbow Warriors come back as well. First of all, the haka dance before every game is dope. But, yeah, I'd love to see Hawaii kind of get back on track. UNLV's kind of at the bottom of things. I mean, they're not as they're still at the bottom overall. They were last year anyway. I believe having a veteran presence, when I say veteran, upperclassman presence, I should say, in those position groups is really going to help. And the quarterback competition I think it's vital. If your defense is getting better, which I believe it is, UNLV Rebel Girl is right, the defense has gotten better. They're deep at almost every position. I can't guarantee you they're going to churn out a bunch of NFL stars, but, compared to the rest of the Mountain West, that defense has gotten better. It's definitely looking up. if these guys could really be efficient against the run, so against the San Diego States of the world, and force teams into third and long, Fresno States of the world, you have the ability to win the West. San Diego State won't be easy because they're a well-oiled machine over there. I swear, man, they have an excellent running back coming out of the school almost every single year, a rushing leader coming out of that school almost every single year. But if UNLV can start to get into the middle of the pack, you're looking at 7-6, 8-5. That's a bowl game for sure. Okay, if you can be stout against the run in that conference and efficient with the football and offense, there's no reason why they couldn't be looking at second or third in the West this year. So there's the Mountain West. As far as the divisions, you got the Mountain West is in its whole, but the two divisions are Mountain and then the West. So Utah State's really good too. They tend to play better competition than this on a consistent basis. But yeah, man, if you guys want to get a chance, look at UNLV, keep track of that. I know that they've done some remodeling to that stadium. UNLV Stadium's pretty dope. To their practice facilities, I should say, because they actually share the indoor facilities with the Raiders. The UNLV Rebels do. That's really cool. On game days or on away games, I'm pretty sure that they retrofit that field to take care of that. And I want to say it's turf. The Raiders play on grass and UNLV plays on turf. It's really cool the way that stadium's set up. But yeah, they've also done some renovations to their sports facilities. If you guys get a chance to check out the UNLV sports facilities, they are rolling. We're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to touch base on the new head coach of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. What's going on with Barry Trotz? We'll probably touch on him first. And then before we head into the analysis on our new head coach there for the Golden Knights, and then we'll talk about the Raiders, because there are some key guys out there, and there's some rumbling afoot on Twitter, guys. I don't know if you guys are keeping track at all, but Mo Moten is Maurice Moten, I should say. He's a co-host for the Silver and Black Today podcast. He's a football advisor in Bleach Report. This guy doesn't play around. I'm giving him a shout out because he does his work. He's flirting with the idea of maybe a certain, I don't know. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but he's going to be a big one. He may be advanced in age, but he's one of those guys I told you. Keep him on your watch list, especially as the season grows closer. When we get back, we'll touch base.
Damn! Green team! Set! Hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it. College football, and do you want to hear a college football show dedicated to all that is college football, including junior college and the CCCAA and the NJCAA, the NAIA, and the NCAA, including Division III, Division II, Division I AA in the FCS, and Division I Single A in the FBS. Well, then look no further. Join myself, Larry B., and my colleagues, Mr. H-Town Blake Henley, and Mr. Christian Espinoza, each week during the college football season for the latest in college football on 3 and Out College Edition, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
shores of the Puget Sound to the rushing waters of the Columbia River, stretching across the Great Cascades, and on IE Sports Radio lives the Northwest Territory Sports Show, hosted by me, Brad Buckingham. On this show, I cover all the great collegiate and professional sport teams that we have here in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Mariners, Sounders, and even the Seattle Kraken. But I can't forget all of that is good in Oregon either. I got the Trailblazers, the Oregon Ducks, the Beavers, even the Timbers, and much, much more. You can listen to the show every Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, noon to 1 p.m. Pacific on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
Welcome back, ladies and sinners, to the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. This is your host, Cale Henderson. We are at it again with another edition of the Tuesday night special, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised, MLO's Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Anonymous, just so you know, you are the hero we deserve, but not the one we need right now. With a name like that. The original Anonymous. It's incredible. Shout out to the folks in the chat, Taryn and Adam. Thank you guys so much for joining the show. Yeah, Adam, I remember those days, the Colt Brennan days, where he was slinging hash. I think he still has the single season record for most yards in a season. I want to say most touchdowns thrown in the season 2. He was just crazy. If it wasn't for some injuries, I'm sure we could have seen a little bit of, spark. But that offense, that June Jones offense, just wasn't meant for NFL, caliber type quarterbacks. Taryn, yeah, the Raiders. So Taryn Rodriguez said the Raiders have had the 5th highest drive percentage in the NFL ever since 2020. And with Devontae Adams, they'll be soaring and scoring more. They'll be hitting harder than Will Smith after a G.I. Jane joke, and I don't think that's too soon at all. I think that's so great. The timing's amazing, Taryn. You're a legend for that. 100% agree. You're a legend for that. Said it for years. And just to add to that, Taryn, I mean, with the Raiders, it wasn't just the 5th highest drive percentage. That's just since 2020, so that's 2 seasons, right? 2 seasons recorded. Last year, I think they were 2nd or 3rd in drive percentage. So when you guys see drive percentage, you're looking at a team number of drives for one, and basically their scoring percentage. I think the Raiders were over 50% last year. They scored points on over 50% of their drives last year, which put them at 3rd or 4th last year. In 2020, you're right. I think they were around like 4th or 5th or something like that. So the average kind of knocks you back a little bit. But that's with lacking weapons. Like you had a rookie, Henry Ruggs, who was dealing with the injury bug a little bit in his rookie year in 2020. So you weren't getting much out of him. Brian Edwards wasn't really available very much. Darren Waller was still a beast. He was producing. But you had an offensive line that was really struggling to open up lanes in the run game. So even there's just been so many reasons for people to be pissed off at the Raiders. I mean, all these years, it just wasn't very sound. And even with that, you still had a lot of efficiency. Like John Gruden gets a lot of crap. And listen, him as a person, you can question all you want. Don't blame me at all. But as a coach, he had a plan. If he thought about the offense and just hired somebody competent enough to run the defense, at least put the Raiders in the top 20, you had playoff years each of those years. Because even with all those first-round picks that they wasted, you were still finding wins and leaving wins on the board. And that says more about the makeup of the team than anything else. Derek Carr's killing it. I think he's going to have a hell of a year. It could be his best ever, and I'm really excited for that. It is what it is, man. You just got to look at the tea, right? You got to look at the facts. I don't think people really look at the facts. So now what are they inheriting when it comes to the Raiders? And before, we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, but you're now getting one of the top offensive coaches in the last 15 years. His team is top 10 in scoring, efficiency, red zone efficiency, by the way. Red zone efficiency, something the Raiders have not been the entire Gruden tenure. They just don't not score points in games. If New England lost, it's because the defense was just killed. The offense never had issues, even with Mac Jones. So there's that. Adam Karnick, I'm glad you brought it. I don't know why I say Karnick, man. Maybe it's because I want to think of the old Nebraska kicker. Adam Karnick chimed in and said, Trotz makes so much more sense in Vegas than Philly. As far as I see right now, Adam, and you're the hockey guy, so you know a hell of a lot more than I do. But from what I've seen, it's been reports within the last week, Barry Trotz turned down $7 million a year to coach the Philadelphia Flyers. And that's hearsay. It's places like Hockey Patrol, houseofhockey.net, and novacapsfans.com. I don't see anything from any of the major sports entities like NHL.com or The Athletic or NBC Sports.com or even ESPN, the regulars. But when I think about where there's smoke, there's fire, man. And there's also reports that he bought a $1.5 million home in Nashville, Tennessee, one of the cheapest places to buy a home in America right now, guys. By the way, it's Tennessee. They got the one of the best ROIs in the country. ROIs, rate of return. You guys get what I'm saying. Higher than even, my house here in Lincoln, Nebraska, has improved almost $100,000 since I bought it 5 years ago because of the market the way it is. Imagine what it's like in Tennessee if that's the highest ROI in the country. Barry Trotz bought there. Now there's some speculation. Barry Trotz, and this is just speculation. They're rumors. It's on the Twitter. I got to read what's on the Twitter. I'm not necessarily going to say names. You guys can go out there, search Barry Trotz and get your guys' info. See it for what it is. I thought Philly would be a good fit for Barry Trotz. I thought the Vegas Golden Knights most certainly would be a good fit for Barry Trotz, and they would decided to go another direction. I'm not mad at that direction. We'll touch that here in a little bit. I also think the Winnipeg Jets are still an option, but there's some rumors out there that Barry just wants to get into management with Nashville. Like, he's always loved the Nashville Predators. He wants to stay in Nashville. It's a good place to live, from my understanding, and he just wants to be a part of helping rebuild that Predators team back into a Western Conference Finals type team all over again. And if there's a guy to do it, it's Barry Trotz. That's for sure. But that's the rumors. It does look as though he's had meetings in this last week, or he's looking to have a meeting this upcoming week with the Winnipeg Jets. As of 14 hours ago, he'd be a perfect fit. So where could it get complicated? If you guys want to tune into The Athletic, that'll give you something there. Hopefully Mike Pat, one of our resident bloggers here on IE Sports Radio, the resident blogger, I should say, touches base on that a little bit. But Winnipeg Jets are really gunning for Barry Trotz, especially with the rumors of him turning down $7 million a year. If he was willing to turn down $7 million a year for Philadelphia, I wonder what Winnipeg's going to pay. Maybe it's just he wants to return to Canada. I'm not sure. But Barry's the best coach in the market. That's a fact. There's no way around it. Again, I've said this for weeks. I've never seen a coach win a title and then legit become a free agent that same offseason. Never seen that before. In any sport, for that matter. So Barry Trotz is something. He's an anomaly, man. He's like the great white buffalo, dude. Just rare. And then he went to the Islanders and made them look good for four seasons. That doesn't happen. Nobody makes the Islanders look good. Those jerseys, first of all, they're some of the worst jerseys in the NHL. Secondly, they play second fiddle to the New York Rangers, who are the hockey team in New York. I mean, come on, man. I don't know. I think he made the Islanders look really good. So no matter where he goes, they're going to be an excellent team. And you're right, Adam. I'm totally with you on that. Adam Karnick, he's the host of the Neutral Zone here at IE Sports Radio. Also hosts the Chicago show. I'm 100% in agreement. I think Barry Trotz makes a ton of sense. But the Vegas Golden Knights earlier this week did hire Bruce Cassidy, the former Bruins head coach, to replace Pete DeBoer. I'm not mad about this coaching decision. I'm not mad about it at all. Bruce Cassidy is a winner. Bruce Cassidy has a tendency to win a ton of games. All right. In Boston, I mean, he kind of he sailed the sinking ship, right? Because in my opinion, Boston, although they were very good, they were very old. They have a lot of old players in that team. And he led them to some really, really good games. Lost in the Stanley Cup Finals a few years back. That was to the St. Louis Blues. He was in the playoffs basically each of the 6 years that he was the coach of the Boston Bruins. I mean, they could do much worse than him. I'm telling you guys right now, his win total in Boston was 399, 245, and 108. I apologize. He coached a total of 399 games. He was 245, 108, and 46. Never had a tie, because you don't really have those in the NHL. Overtime points, 46. To me, that's crazy. That's excellent. You don't find that very often for a coach. His win total in the league in itself, 292, 155. I agree, Adam. Adam says that's a lot of money to turn down, but why would you want to go to Philly? They're several years away. You 100% agreed. A couple years ago when they had Claude Giroux and them guys, I would have said, yeah, that's the time to do it. Like, if you weren't tied to the Islanders, that would have been the time to do it because they had a pretty decent team. They were competing in their division, and they were making the playoffs. But realistically, man, that's just not the time to go now. I mean, if you're Barry Trotz, you're going to a spot that is win now. Winnipeg Jets are a perfect example. Patrick Laine and them guys, they're not going to get. I mean, they're entering their prime. Just go get him. If you want to go to Winnipeg, go to Winnipeg. You know, the Vegas Golden Knights are a win now team, but I don't think they have stars. Not a Patrick Laine in their team. They don't have that. So I don't know. If I were him, I'd go to the Jets. If not, if you want to go to management, you're old enough and you got the rap sheet, people are going to do it. You'll make $2 million a year as a manager, team manager, no problem. As an assistant GM or a team builder, they'll come up with the money for a guy like him because he's got invaluable knowledge in the hockey game. To me, front office guys are a better translation of hockey knowledge in most cases than a lot of those coaches, man. Those front office guys, they put in that work. They look at hundreds of scouts, man. It's just crazy. Taryn Rodriguez chimes in, facts, Adam. I'd pick coaching a contender like Vegas over a team that's still a ways away like the Flyers. And I agree with that. Unfortunately, he's not going to be the Vegas coach. Bruce Cassidy is now the Vegas head coach. Again, he went to 6 straight playoffs. He had 6 straight playoff teams with the Boston Bruins, and he did it with an aging team. I think he can do some work with this Vegas Golden Knights. Would I rather have Trotz? Yes. Yes. He said Vegas salary cap is ... a problem. Man, I don't know if you guys watch the NFL or not, but salary cap is just a myth. It's just there. You can push money out and create new money all the time by making signings and manipulating the cap. I mean, that's what good cap managers do. You can do that. What I'm worried about, Adam, is I think Vegas spent a ton of capital, not so much draft picks, but those guys in reserves, those minor league kids. I feel like their farm is kind of bare because of that. They went out, when they made the trades, they did over the last few years to really stay contending, because that's something Vegas wanted to do from the very get-go to be successful in Vegas and drive a fan base consistently. They went out and got some guys. They got some dudes. So nobody's talking about that. I feel like their farm system just isn't very good. But salary cap, guys, that's just a myth. It's just a number. You could sign your best player to a 5-year extension and, have it be like upfront guarantees, and then most of those salary cap problems go away. Not a big deal. And yes, I agree, Adam. Vegas is definitely a win now. The farm is empty, 100%. They're gonna have to figure something out. So I don't think they bring Bruce Cassidy in for a rebuild. I think he knows that this is a younger team than anything he had in Boston. So as long as he gets to go on a run, it's fine with me. Give him a shot. What I hate about what's happening with Vegas, though, is it seems as though they're firing their head coaches. Like, even with 60% win percentages, they're firing their head coaches. It's hard to win a Stanley Cup. They're 5 years in. Yes, they've been to 2 Stanley Cup finals, but it's hard to win a Stanley Cup. That's why pro sports is so difficult. People give those guys crap because they make money. It's one of the hardest things to do in the world. You have one prize. That's it. In pro sports, you have one prize. Period. I just don't know why people act like these guys are just spoiled rich people. They're not. They still work for their stuff. Adam says harder to manipulate the cap in the NHL, though, because it doesn't move like the NFL does. It is going up next season, but only $1 million. Right. Well, some of that has to do with the television money and everything like that. I agree with you. I agree. That makes sense. I see what you're putting down. Yeah, I'm sure they'll have to make some hard decisions, but I promise you most of this team is going to be held together. I'll say this about NHL guys compared to NHL guys or NFL guys. I feel like NHL guys take one for the team a little more. I think some of these guys take reductions a little better than other sports entities out there. NHL guys are kind of selfless. Just something about hockey. They want that chip. It's one of the toughest sports in the world to play, man. I just, the amount of conditioning, everything. Hockey I have great respect for. It's awesome. One of the funnest sports to watch, especially NHL playoffs. I don't understand people who can't watch the NHL playoffs. It's probably at its most exciting. I don't like that there's not shootouts, though, Adam. That's my one pet peeve. The NHL playoffs would be much more exciting if they had shootouts and not like 6 overtime periods if somebody doesn't score. You got to get on page with me there, though, Adam. Come on, man. You got to admit. Transitioning back over to Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy is a winning coach. I hope he kills it. I hope the Vegas Golden Knights give him everything he needs to win. But listen, we all see the Vegas kind of tradition here right now. Like, they're firing winning coaches. So I hope he gets a fair shake. He did an excellent job with an aging Boston Bruins team in a really, really tough Eastern Conference. Hats off to him, man. I hope he kills it. The Raiders are on a run, guys. One thing I want to talk about, before we get too far into this, and this is something just to touch on what Taryn was mentioning earlier. One thing the Raiders just looked really different. It's just the culture. The way these guys are talking at press conferences, and honestly just when you look at the voluntary and mandatory OTA attendances, it was 99% and 100%, you know. And they said 99% because that 1%, dude, it was injuries. They were just in the training room. The reporters didn't see the players on the field, so they counted them absent, but the coaches came right out and said, everybody's here. Everybody's doing what we're asking them to do. There's a lot to digest. We're teaching new things. Come on. Adam touched base on the shootout comment. He goes, hockey guys use the term we all the time. It's a we mentality. Correct. It's not so much like that in the NFL. I don't blame them because they want their bag. I think it's a much shorter career span than hockey. Maybe not much shorter, 1 to 2 years shorter, but still sucks. I love shootouts. Not sure about using them in the playoffs. Maybe after 2 OTs. Yes. Oh my God. After 1 OT. Come on now, dude. What? That's ridiculous. 2 OTs? Man, I remember sitting up and watching it was the Blackhawks and the Ducks, because I'm a big Ducks fan. They were in, I didn't want to say it was game 6. Dude, they went like 4 overtimes. It was stupid. It was like 2 a.m. The game got over 2 a.m. No way, man. No way. Okay, I'll meet you halfway. After 2 OTs, I think a shootout should happen. But those OTs, man, they feel long. These guys have already gone a long time. Sooner or later, if you're the NHL, you have to think of these players. They've already played 82 games, right? And now they're in 7-game series multiple times, especially when you get to the conference finals. Come on. And wouldn't that be great for TV? Come on now, man. Like, NHL is already hurting for TV contracts. If you add more shootouts to this mix, I guarantee you the excitement goes up. That's just the edge of the seat type stuff. Taryn Rodriguez says, exactly, Kale, a hockey game without a shootout could/would take forever. Oof, it does. Straight up, man. I'm not even kidding you. It was the Western Conference Finals. The Blackhawks were going on their run. I think they were going for their second straight Stanley Cup. Yes, you're right. Game 4. The Andrew Shaw header goal. The dumbest crap I'd ever seen in my life. Where it kind of bounced off his head. Yep. That was a controversial goal, man. Still dope. Controversial goal. Yeah, that was when the Blackhawks were just really, really good, man. Like, hats off to him. I love Joel Quenneville. At that time, he wasn't as much of a bastard as we know him now. Taves. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm blanking, but I had so much respect for that one defensive man you guys had. Number 4, I think it was. The guy was a beast. Like, you guys had injuries all over that defensive team. And that dude played, I swear he played crazy amounts. LOL, that was the most awesomely stupid goal ever. I loved it. Yeah, it shouldn't have counted. Like, I mean, NHL.com, anybody, everybody watching, like, was just like, that shouldn't have counted. They should have kept going. Ducks players were in awe. Bruce Boudreau was losing it in his box. That was crazy, but you know, it is what it is. It happened. You can't really do much about it now. Man, you got to help me, dude. Who was that number 4 for the Blackhawks? He was a beast of a defensive man. He was a smaller defensive man, super fast, and I swear, man, if there was, I want to say he played like 50 minutes a game because they had injuries on the defensive side that were crazy. That guy was a damn warrior, and he just wouldn't. He just, I can't remember his name, man. I have to see it. Duncan Keith. Oh, war number 2. You're right. We're on the same page, okay? We're on the same page. You get what I'm talking about. Duncan Keith was a beast, and I don't think that guy gets enough credit for those Stanley Cup run that Blackhawks team went on for years, right? The 3 and 5 years. Duncan Keith was a main staple of that team, dude. He was a beast on the defensive side. He was undersized defensive end. It didn't matter. The guy was always he was always on the puck. It was so hard to get the puck past him. Duncan Keith was a man-child. I don't mean that in a bad way. The guy was super small for his position, but he was everywhere. He was just a beast. So much heart. Jonathan Taves, all them guys, loved watching them play, but Duncan Keith I was most impressed with him. Anytime I ever had to watch him play the Ducks in a series or something like that, it was a lot of fun to watch. So back to the Raiders. You know, the Raiders are just in a different place than what they were with Gruden and them. Like, you expected guys to come in injured. We have guys coming in knowing, hey, they got to earn their spot. And you have a regime that is now saying, hey, if you guys want to play, you have to earn your spot. It's that simple. The favorites aren't going to play anymore. Josh McDaniels doesn't care. If Derek Carr gets beat out, Derek Carr gets beat out. I totally believe that. Is he the guy? Yes, absolutely. I'm just saying that for reference. I think Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are all about winning. That's it. Straight up. So I love it. I love the new regime. I think they're on the right track. And what it's doing is it's attracting attention from Super Bowl winners. It's attracting attention from players out there that really see what's going on and want to be a part of it. For example, Mo Moton was kind of flirting with Ndamukong Suh. He's one of the guys that I told you guys has been on my watch list for a while. I know Daryl Worley is one of those guys. Let's see here. Sorry, Darrell Williams, the tackle from Buffalo. He's one of those guys that we're talking about. But realistically, guys, like Ndamukong Suh would be a great land, especially with as deep as this defensive line is. If you can get him on rotation and keep him healthy and fresh for when it matters most, Ndamukong Suh is still freaky strong. He really is. And he'd look amazing in a Raiders uniform, let's be honest. I just hope he doesn't, I hope he just doesn't cost a bunch of bank. I think last year he made like $5 to $7 million or something like that. That seems reasonable for Ndamukong Suh. I wouldn't give him much more than that. Remember, the Raiders have $25 million in cap. I'm not sure how much of that Hunter Renfrow ate. I know that Hunter Renfrow essentially has now a 3-year, $33 million contract. It's not, but you guys get what I'm saying, because this year he's making like $500,000, $600,000. Then the next 2 seasons it'll be $16 million per. So for the life of his contract, the next 3 years, including this last contract year, you're looking at $33 million over 3 years. I think that's a hell of a contract. Great value for Hunter Renfrow. Darren Waller's next. From my understanding, a deal should be done before training camp starts, as long as the sides aren't too far apart. They definitely want to extend him. What this tells me with the Hunter Renfrow signing and the Davante Adams trade, all the value signings that you saw on defense, the influx of defensive linemen, Chandler Jones, the long-term payment to Max Crosby, this Raiders regime has a 3-year plan. I mean, look at Derek Carr and Davante Adams' contracts. They're essentially void after 3 years. When you look at their contracts by detail, they're done basically after 3 years. And rightfully so. They'll both be around like 32, 33 years old. So the best of them will probably be gone. Maybe not quarterback, but the best of Davante Adams will be done. The Raiders have a 3-year plan to win a Super Bowl. It's a plan. You don't sign these guys the way you're doing it. You don't sign these guys to big contracts. This will be your nucleus of your team for the next 3 years as you're continuing to draft players. Again, the Raiders had an excellent draft this offseason without a first or second round pick because you used it to bring in the best receiver in the league, right? You'll do that every day and twice on Sunday. But the way I look at it is this. You don't make those investments in a Davante Adams, in Derek Carr, in Hunter Renfrow, in Chandler Jones, in Max Crosby. You just don't do that without having a plan in place. Bilal Nichols, like a bunch of free agents came in on value deals. You don't do that unless you have a 3-year plan to win a Super Bowl. If you believe your team can outlast the other teams in your division. I can't say that for sure, guys. I'm optimistic. I can't say that for sure. We have to give Kansas City credit because they've been the dog of the AFC West, man. They've just been that team that's just been mollywopping everybody for the last few years. Then the Chargers. The Chargers are getting better. We can't ignore that. They're young. They're in the prime of Herbert's rookie deal. They've loaded up. They got better on defense. They got better up front. They got better at corner. They didn't really need to get better at weapons. I think they should probably add if they can, but they just probably don't have the cap at this point. The offensive line got better. That team is going to be better. It's really, to me, it's a three-way run for first place. The Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. Part of me feels like Denver just didn't do enough on the offensive line to do it. I mean, I'd like to see them run the ball. If they run the ball, I mean, I wouldn't like to see that, not against the Raiders, but against the Chargers and the Chiefs. I'd love to see them run the ball a lot. Williams is a tank. Let him run. That kid out of North Carolina knows what he's doing. Let him run behind that offensive line, which was slowly improving last year. But your offensive line is going to improve if you run the ball balanced, if you're a balanced team. I just don't see Denver being that team, though. I really don't. I think they're going to use Russ's arm. If the Raiders are smart, they just corral Russ anytime they can. Use his height against him. Teams have done that for years, and they've had success. Okay? Russ is still a beast, don't get me wrong. I just don't think he's the best version of himself anymore. He also looks a little thicker. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to take a look at him. I think he's always been kind of a thicker quarterback, but right now, I don't know, man. He looks a little thicker. He doesn't look like he's in as good a shape as he'd normally be. That's just me. Maybe he put on a few pounds so he can, start taking some hits. The old Donovan McNabb theory. Just not as bad as Donovan McNabb got. Raiders are killing it, man. So you have Ndamukong Suh sending messages to Adam Schefter saying, I think the Raiders would be an awesome spot. That would be awesome. I'd love to see that. I still see Darrell Williams is out there. It's a possibility. I'm not sure anymore, but it's a possibility. Yeah. Sue tweeted 13 hours ago, Raiders could be fun to Adam Schefter. Mo Moten, I agree. Ndamukong, yep, of course. I'd be excited about that because I'm a Husker fan, right? I'm born and raised a Husker. Love to see that. It'd be sweet to see. Yeah, Darrell Williams is still out there. J.C. Tretter's still out there. There's still some names out there, guys, and some more cuts will continue to happen. What I'm watching for, and it's someone I've talked to you guys about a few times over the last few weeks, is Nelson Aguilar of the New England Patriots. He was signed by New England last year. He didn't have that great of a season. I wouldn't say necessarily it was his fault. He had a rookie quarterback, and Nelson's a vertical guy. He's a crossing route / vertical guy, and they just didn't seem to use him like that in New England because they were trying to keep things and concepts simple for Mac Jones. It worked out really well. They made it to the playoffs in his rookie year. Guy had, I think, 4,000 yards passing. I mean, he had an excellent year, but it was very obvious that Nelson Aguilar just didn't work in that system. And this is just what I think might happen. I think New England's trying to hold on to him for some draft picks, maybe even late round ones. Maybe they know at this point it's just not worth it. But eventually, he'll either stay or they're going to cut him. And I think they'll cut him. If they cut him, the Raiders will be able to come in, get him at roughly $5 million a year. He's still sub 30, and he's got a great rapport with Derek Carr. He'd immediately come in and be your number 2 receiver. That's a fact. He'd come in, be your number 2 receiver. You had Hunter Renfrow in the slot. Devontae Adams at your 1, of course, and Darren Waller. That is one of the craziest. That'd be one of the craziest receiving threats, dynamic receiving rosters I've ever heard. Realistically, that's just your starters. That doesn't talk about Mac Hollins, DeMarcus Robinson, all them guys that were brought in on value contracts. I'm telling you, man, if the Raiders can stay healthy on the offensive line and run the football efficiently, I just don't see their offense being stopped, and I'm with Taryn on that. Taryn said it himself. Since 2020, the Raiders have been 5th in efficiency, 100%. Yeah, and there's no reason they can't stay top 5 this year. What I'd love to see them, we've said this from the very beginning, guys, very beginning of this offseason. We have 3 spots we want to see the Raiders get much better at. That's red zone efficiency, right? Red zone efficiency. Huge deal to me. If the Raiders maximize the red zone drives a little better than they have, any better than they have, they're in great shape. Right? You want that. You need that. If the Raiders maximize their red zone efficiency, they kick less field goals and put more scores on the board, it's a different team. That's kind of what killed them against Cincinnati in the playoff game. Realistically, it is what killed them. They have to be efficient in the run game. If you're averaging 4.5 yards a carry, you're in better shape than last year because I think it was like 3.1, 3.2. That's a whole different yard, guys. That puts your down and distance in a different spot. Third down becomes 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. That's manageable downs if you can rush the ball effectively. Okay? So, red zone efficiency, running efficiency. I'm not worried about the pass game. You have one of the better quarterbacks in the league off play action passing. You have one of the better quarterbacks in the league against the blitz, against pressure. Let him roll, man. Let him do his thing. And then defensively, we've talked about it, right? Turnover ratio, red zone efficiency, because they were the worst in the league. If you fix those things, you're a top 15 defense, and you're looking at a Super Bowl contending team. It's that simple. That's the Raiders' recipe. And when you look at the players they brought in, it's definitely something that could happen. Taryn said if the Raiders brush up that run game, they're solid. Yeah. If they open more holes and with this new scheme change, it shouldn't be a problem. This is a different team, man. But yeah, I would wait to see. Keep an eye on Nelson Aguilar. It's no joke. Adam said the Raiders cannot be ignored or overlooked this season for sure. Agreed, man. They're going to punch some people in the face. They haven't had a very talented roster, and they still finished second in a really tough division the last 2 years. It's not going to be easy, but I'm just saying, it's exciting. All right, folks, you guys know how it is. End of the Tuesday edition of the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio. You guys can catch us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm your host, Cale Henderson. We're always going over Vegas sports, man. And with Taryn Rodriguez helping out with the Las Vegas Ramblers, we got the Lady Aces killing it. UNLV is on the rise, especially in the football department. The Golden Knights got a new coach. Hopefully they keep their winning ways up. And the Raiders, man, they're just booming. They're doing their thing. All right, everybody's hitting 21s in the black. You know what I'm saying? They're killing it in the blackjack. Their odds are better at the casino of winning this year in Vegas, and it's just becoming a sports town. We gotta love it. We gotta love it. It's better for us. As always, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the Sin City Sports Show presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.